Now, why would I say don't be a lizard? Well, because of the function of these three parts of the brain. And I'm going to get to how this relates to healing the heart of America in just a minute. You'll probably figure it out yourself in a few minutes. The brain stem, that part of our brain, is part of the brain that we have in common with every other animal. And in particular, it's the only brain that reptiles have, or almost the only brain, is the part of the brain that is responsible for everything automatic. Heart rate, body temperature, respirations, anything that you don't have to think about. Reptiles don't have a lot of cortex, so they're not able to think a lot, because the cortex, this hard candy part of the brain, reptiles don't have a very big one of those. Humans have a big cortex. So do dolphins and whales, interestingly. Anyway, the reptiles, the lizards, they act on instinct. Something happens and they just act automatically. They don't think things out or plan things so much because they don't have a cortex to do that. Well, it turns out in our brain, the reptilian part of our brain, the lizard part of our brain, is also responsible for the fight or flight response, where we react to something that's scary, something that we feel threatened by, with an urge to run like crazy, to flee, or to fight, right? to fight the lion that's chasing us. So this idea that there is a part of the brain that coordinates automatic responses to help us survive a threat, kind of like a fire alarm in the high school. You're taking your math test and the fire alarm goes off. It's more important than anything else because your survival is more important than the math test, right? So when the fight or flight response goes off and our brainstem shuts off everything else north of that, the midbrain and the cortex, or they don't work at their best, they work in service of survival, right? They're subjugated, they're made the servants of the brainstem, so that everything we perceive, we're thinking it might be a threat, and that we have to act to get away from it. And then the midbrain, that's the part of the brain that handles many things, but for our purposes, emotion and memory. So if we're in the fight or flight response, what emotion would be best if we had to fight that lion? Anger, right?